At the end of each year, I share with you my favorite medals for that year. So today I want to do the same thing. It's just going to be a little bit different though. I didn't run as many races as I normally do in 2022 because of my knee injury. So there weren't that many medals to pick from. So on top of just sharing my favorite medals for 2022, I thought I would share some of my all-time favorite medals with you. Because over the years, I've collected quite a few medals. Let's start with 2022 though, as always I have a few categories. The first category is the best challenge medal set, and this year that goes to the Big FIVERR safari runs. I did 3 days of races there, 5K, 10K and 15K, and they were all a lot of fun, and especially with all the animals that you got to see on your run, that made it a lot of fun. The medals for the individual races got bigger for each run. And for competing in all three, we got a challenge medal, which looks amazing. They told me that they wanted to mimic the Run Disney medals, and I think they did a great job. I love this medal. Now the other categories are always the medal from my favorite race, my hardest earned medal, and my favorite medal. But these all happen to be for the same race. This year was all about the London Marathon, the training for it while recovering from an injury and building up to the point that I was confident enough to run it, but not really ready yet for running a marathon, makes it my hardest earned medal. It was a real struggle to get ready for the race. And even before the start, I had no idea if I was actually gonna be able to run it and be able to get to the finish line or maybe have to stop halfway through. So yeah, the race itself was very tough, but it was a marathon, so they always are. But it was spectacular. The atmosphere was amazing. The crowds, the satisfaction of finally running the London Marathon, even though that my orthopedic surgeon told me that I couldn't run a marathon again. That was just fantastic. So the London Marathon was my favorite race this year, and yeah, just look at the medal. It's an awesome looking medal. It has the famous size of London that we ran past. It has great detail, and yeah, it's double-sided. I just love everything about this medal, and it didn't have that many medals to beat this year, but still, it's an amazing looking medal and definitely my favorite medal of 2022. Before I get to my all-time favorites, I wanted to mention that this video is sponsored by USPP, a website where you can order custom-made medals for events when you're putting on your own 5K or a virtual run for charity. They make all kinds of different medals, for example, the 3D medals that look really awesome. They also do pins, lanyards, t-shirts, and all kinds of other things. And if you order something from them right now, check the link in the description and the discount code, you can get 10% off. They don't have an order minimum, so yeah, just go check them out. So now for the all-time favorite medals. Let's split this up in a few categories as well. And let's start with my favorite set of medals. I actually have these hanging on my wall. They're in a frame, and they're the medals that I got for the Dopey Challenge and Castaway Key Challenge in 2018. It includes my first marathon medal, and it has some really great individual race medals as well. The Dopey Challenge medal just looks amazing. It's one of my all-time favorite medals, and it was also my hardest earned medal for 2018. The Castaway Key Challenge just completed the entire set and the whole Run Disney experience. It was just amazing to run all those races, to take that trip, and it was just so much fun, and there's so much memories attached to those medals that, yeah, definitely makes this my favorite medal set. Let's go to the hardest earned medal. This might not be for the reason that you would expect, because it's not actually the toughest race that I've run, because then it would be the medal that I got for the Big 5 Marathon in South Africa. That was a really tough race, especially with the 3 kilometers, having to run down and then walk back up a really steep hill. But it's for a race that I actually made tough on myself. In 2022 or 21, I did an attempt to get into the Guinness Book of World Records by running a half marathon in Amsterdam dressed as Venom. Now, I went all out. I had to run at a high pace, so that was really tough. But the toughest part came a week after, when I had to run the marathon of Rotterdam. After 5K, I already had a burning feeling in my thighs that, yeah, you might normally get after a marathon, but I still had the entire race to run. With an increasing pain in my legs, it took everything out of me to get to that finish line. And yet the toughest part might have actually been the week after, when my muscle pain kind of went away, my knee started acting up, and I spent pretty much a year recovering from that and getting back to being able to run longer distances again. So yeah, the medal that I got for the Rotterdam Marathon is without a doubt my hardest earned medal. So let's get to my favorite medal of all time, but let's split this one up too, because it might come as no surprise that my favorite medal is a Run Disney medal. So let's split it up to my favorite non-Run Disney race and my overall favorite medal. Now for a non-Run Disney race medal, I will have to go to a marathon medal. Marathon medals not only have that extra sentimental value that comes from the race, but yeah, most of the time they're just a little bit of a step up from most other medals. Now, I showed you the Big Five marathon medal, and that design is beautiful. I love that medal, and it's definitely high on my list. The London Marathon medal is amazing. I told you the design just is really awesome. But the medal that I think really jumps out for me is the Rome Marathon medal. The design that just perfectly fits the race. It looks like something that could have been made ages ago. It just fits the feeling of the race without even mentioning anything about the marathon on the front of the medal. The race itself was spectacular, running past all the famous landmarks in Rome, and yeah, the medal at the end of the race was just as spectacular. So yeah, for me, as a non-Run Disney race medal, this definitely has a special place in my heart. So then for the all-time favorite medal and why I picked this one, like I said, it's a Run Disney medal. They always have really great medal designs, and they come up with some really great stuff. So the Run Disney Paris medals have been some of the best medals so far. And they don't always seem to make medals that fit in a set necessarily, like they do in Disney World a lot more. Disneyland Paris has had some really great individual race medals, and in 2019 the 36K Challenge medal had the genie from Aladdin on it. Now, I always loved the genie, and I've been a big fan of Robin Williams since I was a little kid, so I love that they put the genie on the medal. But the most awesome thing about this medal is that all the blue detail in this medal is actually glass. Now, I've never had a glass medal before. I don't think other races hand out stained glass medals. I've had wood, plastic, metal, rubber, all kinds of materials, but yeah, never a medal that's partially made of glass. So for that fact, and the fact that it just looks amazing, makes this my all-time favorite medal. Now tell me which one of these medals was your favorite medal down in the comments, and I hope that this year I'll collect a lot more medals than I did in 2022. Until next time, get out there and run.